Good morning, my quilting friends. Well, that's Leah's today's beautiful opening. Um, she always does that every time she starts her quilting. I think it's lovely to say that. Good morning, how are you, everyone? Okay, this is a Flynn quilt hoop or frame is what they call it. I apologize. Created by John Flynn, Flynn, and it's 40, the rods are 45 inches in length. The 3 rods are 45 inches in length. And then they have the side attachments, this red bar here, and then the tightening knobs that are on the side. You get the screws attached to the rods. They're right in here. There's some screws, pardon me, that are attached to the rod. You see it here, you see it there and there. They have little caps that go on the rods itself, and it's also on the other end. When you tighten and loosen, you will loosen this is my left hand side. You would loosen the 2 rods that are knobs that are here. To loosen it, it goes away from you. To tighten it, it goes towards you. On the opposite side, you loosen it going towards you, and you tighten it going away from you. So that's how that works. Okay. Oh. Alright. So I also have my bobbins. My glasses are gone. I have my bobbins all wound and ready. I have a pair of bifocals magnifying glasses if you need them. A pair of embroidery curved scissors helps. I also have a surgical tweezer, and occasionally I have an extra safety pin just in case I need to tie something. And I put that all away. I have comb thread that's already in the back. You see it over here? My comb thread matches the bobbin thread. Okay, my tension is at 2.4, my width is at 3.5, my upper tension is at 4. Okay, I have a, let's see, if I remember, I was a new bobbin in yesterday. Okay, they also come with these or these plastic PVC that goes under, and there's another roller under here. Okay, so let's get going. Let's get started. Oh, very important that you have a mirror so you can look under your quilt to make sure that your stitches are not bunching up and that you don't have any bird's nests. So let's get started. I'm working on a Juki. This is my Juki Excite HZL-3210 that I purchased, I believe in 2005. So it really works great for this type of free motion, and I have never bought any accessories. It's never been taken to a shop. I keep it well maintained by cleaning it every time I finish a project, change the needles. It's very important that you use the right needles for the right project. So I'm going to start way over here, and let's take a look. I'm going to skip this one and bring my needle up, my bobbin thread up. Okay, done. And this is how you can see it in motion. When you're holding this, you don't really need too much pressure. Just keep your fingers under the rod and everything will work very smoothly. Okay, I'm going to take one of these PC, these plastic tubings, and I'm going to put it on the other side to give it more balance, and then this way I can hold it here. So I'm going to get started here. Get my threads and trim those off. This is where your tweezer comes in handy. You can get underneath your project. And your speed variable is up to you. How fast do you want it sew? How slow do you want it sew? That's totally up to you. Another thing is to remember is you only have a certain distance on your home sewing machine. So keep that in mind, that you can't go any closer to yourself without hitting the sideboard of your sewing machine, because you could damage not only your sewing machine, you know, if you break your needle, you'll have unruly tension, it'll bounce, and you just don't want that. So you have to make sure way in advance you're going to measure your how much material you need. Again, this is only a 45-inch rod. You can get them at the hardware store and get them much longer, which I am going to do. And it isn't very expensive because I already went on some hardware stores to find this particular PCB this kind of rod. So you can find them. They're not expensive, and you can order them online and they'll deliver them to you. So keep that in mind. You can also have these get these made for if your clearance of your sewing machine isn't high enough and you need it higher, you can buy these big. If you need smaller, you could buy these smaller depending on what type of domestic sewing machine you have. This is a very good quality. I purchased this frame, John Flynn quilt frame, about 10 years ago. 8 tops, but I'm sure it was around 10 or 8 years ago. It's been such a long time that I can't even remember, because I rarely ever used it. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was not something I was accustomed to. So I just left it in the box for the past 5 years. I just left it there in my sewing storage area. And then one day I just went on Flynn quilt frame and I watched the film over and over, and I said, I've got all this small little lap quilts that I want to finish, and I don't want to meander them with my hands, because that is tedious and it's hard on my back, my shoulder, my arms. This really floats as good as you want. Then I started practicing. This is the 1, 2, the fourth quilt that I've already finished. I've given one away to a really sweet, kind lady who's helped me, so I helped her in return by giving her a gift. And I asked her if I made this specifically for you. She was thrilled. She was so thrilled. So I have a lot of UFO quilts. Mostly I create these lap quilts that fit almost a twin bed. They don't cover the twin bed exactly, but they are wide enough. They're 45 inches. They're actually 45 inches, all of them, in width. The length can be as long as you want, but I keep it more or less sort of the same length. Sometimes they're a little longer. This one's a little longer, so it's actually the length of my twin bed, but the width is, this particular quilt, as you notice, it's hanging over a bit. And that's okay. It's over 45, 50, it's 60 inches. So I'm not actually quilting the sides. I am going to do that on my sewing machine after I finish taking it off. That I can control because it's just the edge, it's not the whole quilt. Doing the whole quilt is tedious. When I start, I always start on my left, from my left to my right, because it just doesn't work if you try to go from right to left. Really, the sewing machine goes one way when it sews, and it goes that way. So having it going to the right could damage your sewing machine as well. And then, I don't know for sure, but you never know. But make sure you drop your feed dogs. My feed dogs are completely dropped. This helps smooth and guide your project. Also, I have what they call a darting foot on it, or a quilting foot. There's so many different names for this particular quilting foot. And then I have, luckily, this Juki has a stitch regulator built in there, and also a thread cutter and a automatic thread, so I can thread it really easily. It's at a good arm's length. I could reach it, as you can see. I can reach the buttons on the side. And again, it's just a domestic sewing machine, but it works absolutely wonderful. I am saving my money to buy a Q-zone quilt frame. I inquired and asked some questions to a person that sells the quilt frames. The Q-zone quilt frame is 4 feet in width. So I think that's awesome because it's something that'll fit in this area, and it comes with the handles, and it will fit this sewing machine, and I would be able to use it. The bigger the machine, if you get a long arm, that's a whole different ballgame. So this is what I'm doing today. I just want to show you very briefly how I maneuver it versus showing you stitches. Because the stitches, you will see them as they come out of the sewing machine. So let's get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I am so good in constructive criticism. I'm not an expert. I didn't go to college for this. I'm not gaining any money trying to sell you the Flynn quilt frame or the sewing machine. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just showing you how it works, how I use it, how it benefits a person like me who needs something a little more easier to sew it. And this table that I have here is a fold-away table. I bought it at Walmart. Again, I'm not asking you to go to a Walmart buy it. It's 6 foot in width. So this is plenty of room for not only my sewing machine, a good light, my thread holder. It holds the quilt frame very well. So let's get started. 15 minutes of talk. Okay, so now I am going to lift my presser foot up, disengage my foot because I have my needle position always down. So I'm lifting my needle because I want to move the sewing machine, the frame just a little bit so I can lift this up, get my mirror and look under and check my threads. Everything looks wonderful. So now I can go back slowly. I can pull my thread back again. And by the way, every time I stop at a block, before I was just going through each block. I wasn't even stopping there because, again, it's new to me. But now I know I can stop the sewing machine, lift my needle up, lift my foot pressure up, and move to my next block. I didn't think of that. But these are the things that I learned as I'm going along. So I'm going to start in the middle of this block, lower my foot pressure down, engage my needle position down, and now I want to create a circle or a square. Stop. Trim that thread. I don't want to keep sewing over and over it. Okay. And start. I am echoing now. And just freestyling. Press your foot up, engage your needle position up, move your thread slowly, mirror, check your threads, they look good. Now I'm going to take one of the PC plastic and I'm going to start going on this end. Now you see it's really done. And you see how smooth that goes? Oh, it's just so much fun. I don't know what I was so afraid of. And I'm going to pull my thread back, lower my pressure foot down, engage my needle position down, and here I go again. I love prints because prints basically you can just follow the print. Like this print has a lot of circles, so I'm just following the circle. The next print is the same type of print, it's a circle. So if you can get prints like this star, you can follow the star. This next one has little circles. The next one is paisley. So I tend to follow those. And echo means I just go over the same thing and go around it and create these beautiful designs. And as I go, I'm going to trim my threads that underneath is a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to finish up what I'm doing here and start. engage my needle position up to the next segment or the next block. And as you can see, I'm pretty sure you can see a pattern emerging. I have a lot of light in here, so I'm trying very hard. This is not a perfect camera, it's my laptop. I'm going to move my, pardon me. Well, check it. Okay, as I already showed you, I have a star here. So I am going to look at that particular pattern and create the star. So lower my foot, press her down, engage my needle position down, and here we go. Echo around that star. Cones need to be. And press your foot and over to the next section. I'm just going to trace around or follow the circles here. Lower my press your foot down, engage my needle position down, and here I go. I want to see how the threads are going. Looking good. Okay. Position down again. Threads. As you practice, you will gain a better feel of how to use this. This saved me a lot of money. It's $149. I got free shipping, so that was a plus. It was delivered on time, I remember. When I got it, I was like flabbergasted. I didn't know how to use it. I was breaking needles, breaking thread. The tension wasn't right. It was more being nervous than anything else. But I'll give you a hint. on how to be able to relax. First, you should breathe, relax. Just let it flow. It's believe me, it's really going to work. The only thing you gotta keep an eye out is that it's kind of like moving around. What else? I was actually thinking of maybe putting maybe something to give it some weight and covering it up on each end, like maybe a bean bag, and then covering them up so it could be a little more stable. But then again, I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. But the way you do the free motion meandering is what this is called, and creating these beautiful little designs, is practice with a pen. It's basically like writing. If you could cursive your name, make an L or an E or small L, small cursive L, waves, start with waves, triangles, squares, and then the circles, and then build your writing skills. Basically, you are drawing on your quilt. That is basically what you're doing. So keep that in mind. Sometimes I look around in the environment that I have. I think of a leaf, I think of a flower, a simple design. Again, an L, start with an L, and then a lowercase L, then an E, swirl eights, circles, squares. Just take your time. Stippling, it's like just creating almost like a puzzle pieces. So here, I'm about to lift my foot, and I'm going to go in the middle again, or engage my needle position down. I'm going to make a swirl. Or circle going around the circle. Then I'm going to go around and back out. And back out. Balance, and then you're going to hold it, keeping it at a steady height. Good. Before hook here. Excellent. Just double check. Hopefully you can see this design there. And all I did was just swirl around these circles that were already there. So now I'm on the paisley, and I'm just going to follow that paisley design. lift the line. What does he say? Get underneath. Straight. Press it down. Maybe just oh. This is down here. Oh, I forgot to cut my thread. You have to make sure you keep an eye on it. I went across over my threads, so that made it get stuck. Let's pick that up. Pick up the bobbin, down, and commence. Oops. I see how you can let it away, so I don't wanna accidentally. Lift your as you go. Get that balance. Now, I need to loosen up both of the top. So loosen on this side is going that way. Loosening on this side is going towards me. Going to the bottom, I'm going to loosen that, and then again loosen this one. And then loosen up B. So this is, the top is A, the bottom row is C, and the middle one is B. So bring it towards you. Oh, well, it helps if you get the safety pins off. If you don't remove the safety pins, it's not going anywhere. It's something I have to keep reminding myself. I tend to pull it, and then I realize, okay, so slowly roll this up, holding the back piece, making sure that it's not going to bump on your machine. Right there. Tighten up the sides. Tighten up the other side. And remember, you don't want it so tight. It should have some type of stability. Don't over tighten your quilt. Now I'm going to roll up the batting in the top piece and tighten it. So okay, there are some strips right here and another strip. Got safety pins. Since I'm really not sewing the edges because it's so wide, I'm leaving those alone. I'm going to do that on my own. Okay. And then go to the other side. Put your lead strips. You see me pulling right here. What I'm going to move that and go all the way to the end. Make my leads thick. I'm not really sewing these down here at all, actually. I'm going to do the sides because it's so big myself. That I don't mind doing. That will not take very long. Okay, and pin the strips. I know I've been sewing on this side, but I don't think I'll do it anymore. I will finish that up on my own. There. Now, I'm ready to. I love to see the progress on this. I really do. Once you get a hang of it, you realize how fast this project can go. All my supplies right in front of me. These are just plastic containers you get from your rolls, your croissants. You rinse them out, clean them out, and they make excellent trays. I save all those type of cake things because they're excellent for the little stuff that you have. Even I save the little, there's a little strawberries that come in the plastic and the little air, so you can have the air flowing. I clean those out really good. Those are good to put your squares, your strips, your cuts you're going to work on, and you can place them on a shelf, and they're very, very sturdy. Okay, so this one has a star, you can see, and I'm just going to follow that star and just echo that star. Echo means just following the outline of the star and then going over and over to holding it again. So I'm going to hold my foot and just, here I go. Now that I've been able to underneath. part in the middle. And here I go. There. And I'm going to do something. My pants, because I noticed that I didn't go up. I could have went up just a little bit higher, so this one goes somewhere a little bit this one. And bring that up just a little bit more. I can go that far up. I notice I'm not all the way down there. There's only 2 inches that I'm not sewing. So that's good right there. That's right with me. Okay. My first quilt is so fun. I was tightening it up and then pulling at it, and then when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, the root's kind of like wonky, so I didn't do that anymore. Now I just tighten it up good enough. Now I can see how fast that was. Now I can go back and do the other 2-inch gap I have here, over 2-inch gap. So I didn't want that 2-inch gap. Okay, thread. Bobbin up. I like to start in the middle. It just really, this works for me. I don't always start in the middle, but I notice that this works for me. Trim it a little bit. Houston, what's going on here? I ran out of bobbin thread. I'm sure I ran out of bobbin thread. Ah! Didn't I tell you? It's all right there. Luckily, let's see. Going to remove the pins right here, my leader sticks, so I can see how I can get back there. Mangle that right there. It's a little tricky trying to get in there. when I first did the first quilts, because I didn't know how to take it out, I broke the little chip there, so I ordered a new one for next month. Okay, so I got I use my tweezers to pick out the bobbin. It's so strange how it comes so and sure it is. When they're able to use both our arms, fingers, and hands. It's amazing how we can do that. Okay. So follow the directions of how I got my thread on this particular sewing machine. It's actually counterclockwise versus very good to get that right and there we go. Hold everything in place and like that. And my finger on that sliding the plastic piece and locking that in place. Okay, so now I'm going to put the lead sticks back on. Tighten that up. Nice. Firm. Taut. I said taut, but not tight. Taut, but not tight. If that makes any sense. Okay. Let me stop this.